After a traumatic event, the rest were taken with clear recall. If defense wishes to weight one document above others, show cause.
Even with clear recall and after a traumatic event, the brain can keep things saved.
The objection is sustained.
Yes, Your Honor. I will change line of questioning. Miss Shake, you said earlier on the stand you said if you were to hear them again, yes, you would be able to recognize them in a heartbeat. And before the party you attended, had you heard these men's voices?
Before the party, yes sir, I heard them in my home the night of the robbery.
Had you heard them anywhere after that?
No sir, I had not.
And Miss Chegg, were you partaking in any of the drinks at the party?
A soda.
So no alcohol?
No sir.
Miss Chegg, do you happen to personally know Officer James McDonnell?
No, I do not.
Have you ever spoken to Officer McDonnell?
Relevance.
Its foundation to Officer McDonnell's later testimony.
We know she has. He was the attending officer.
Your Honor, I'd like the witness to answer my questions, not the ADA.
I would like for you to get to your point as well. What is the defense trying to assume? The officer was the attending officer at the time.
Yes, Your Honor, but it is noted that the officer has prior allegation of threats he has made against the Carter brothers, and therefore he may have a stake to threaten the witness to say things that may not be quite true. Trying to get the foundation of their situationship on record to the court may assist us further down the line, Your Honor.
Is that anything to do with this case? You are here questioning the victim, not the officer.
Speculation and the officer is not on trial here.
Correct, Your Honor, and her relationship with said officer may be foundation for this case.
Then get to the point. Stop pussyfooting with speculation. Be matter of fact. Did you have any prior relationship with the officer in question? Is that what you were trying to ask?
No, Your Honor, allow me to rephrase. Miss Shake, after your home invasion, had you spoken to Officer McDonnell?
Just when I was at the hospital, as he asked me to collect the spit collection off my face.
After that, had you had any interactions with him?
No, sir.
Your Honor, we would like to enter into evidence Officer James McDonnell's body cam footage from February 6 showing that he in fact had spoken to Ms. Chegg after the fact.
Allowed.
Ms. Chegg, would you like to change your answer to my previous question, as this body cam footage shows you speaking to Officer McDonnell at a party at Chief Justice Blakewell's house?
Ah yes, he was one of the officers that did show up to the call at his house.
Relevance.
Thank you, Ms. Chegg. No further questions, Your Honor, but defense would like to call Ms. Chegg back up at a later date for further questions.
The officer was acting in their duty as an officer of the law. You are making this out to be nefarious with open statements like interaction.
Your Honor, Mr. Blackwood's relevance is clearly there. She did in fact speak to the officer when she just stated under oath she did not. And the word interaction never left my mouth. Thank you. And the word interaction never left my mouth. Thank you.
Your Honor, that was pure and simple entrapment.
Defense, you did state there was interaction. The relevance of whether she talked to the officer in question has no relevance at this moment. If the officer was called to a place where she was, that is not the focus of this trial. Miss Chegg, you may step down. Get yourself in check now.
It was not, Your Honor, as the victim was the one to call police. You would think the victim could recall who she spoke with.
The defense badgered the witness into a perceived untruth under oath.
Your Honor, can we please move forward and have Mr. Blackwood rein himself in?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, what did I just state? I am not one to repeat myself.
Accepted, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you have any more witnesses to take the stand?
Your Honor, I will not call further witnesses. I reserve rebuttal, of course.
Court is now adjourned and will resume tomorrow, March 22nd, at a to-be-determined time.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Alexandra James.
Thank you, Bailiff.
All may be seated. This case is the Town of Portofino versus Damion Carter, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please bring in the jurors.
Jurors may enter the courtroom, Your Honor. They were sworn in yesterday.
Sir, if you don't put out the cigarette now, you will be removed from my courtroom.
Didn't even light it. Guess I'll chew on this instead of the truth.
Good evening, jurors. I want to remind you that you are under oath still, and to please pay attention to the facts that are presented today. If at any time you need something, do not hesitate to ask. All right, now I see we left off with Mr. Blackwood. Did you have any more witnesses to call before we move over to Mr. Donahue?
I have no more witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Donahue. We will move to your first witness, and then we will get into evidence. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense would like to call Mr. Aidan Blakewell as our first witness.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do solemnly swear that the testimony I am about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Of course. My name is Aidan Blakewell. I am the Chief of Justice. And Damion Carter is my fiancé.
And about how long would you say you've known Mr. Carter?
I've known Mr. Carter for about 8 months now. We've been in a relationship for 6 of those months, and just last weekend, we got engaged.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Blakewell. I know this community is always glad for this type of good news. Now, in all the time, have you ever known my client, Damion Carter, to be involved in any violent acts or illegal activities?
No, never. Damion's the kind of man who'll scoop up my daughter, toss her on his shoulders, and run around the living room like it's a playground. He makes her pancakes in the morning, shaped like hearts and stars, and they've got this thing where they'll turn up the music and have these little dance parties in the kitchen. I've never seen him act violently, not toward anyone. That's not who he is when he's with us.
Of course, and I'm deeply sorry to have to bring any of this up, but was the night of the party at your home the first you had heard of any of these allegations of your fiancé?
Yes, that night was the very first time I'd heard anything like that about Damion. It caught me completely off guard. We were hosting a party, a casual, friendly gathering, and I had no indication anything was wrong until Judge Chegg approached me and made the allegation directly. It was a complete shock. Nothing in our time together had ever suggested he was capable of something like that.
Mr. Blakewell, during the incident at your home, was Damion showing any signs of being violent or angry before the officers arrived, and how had his demeanor changed once they arrived?
Before the officers arrived, Damion wasn't being violent. He was calm, relaxed, even. We were still trying to enjoy the party. There was music, food, people around, no tension at all coming from him. But once the officers showed up, and he realized what was being said about him, his demeanor changed. He got defensive, angry. I think he felt cornered, like everything was crashing down at once. That kind of reaction didn't come out of nowhere. It came from fear, from confusion, not from guilt. He's not perfect, but that wasn't the Damion I know. That was someone overwhelmed.
Of course, Mr. Blakewell. When the officers arrived, did they approach Damion to speak to him in a professional manner, or was there something else that you saw instead?
At first, it seemed professional. They asked for his ID, tried to question him, basic procedure, from what I could tell. But once he hesitated, once he didn't immediately comply, they shifted. The energy changed. It was less about conversation and more about control. I understand they were doing their jobs, but there was a noticeable escalation. Fast. He wasn't given much room to process what was happening. It didn't feel like they were trying to de-escalate. It felt like they were expecting a fight before he even gave them one.
And Mr. Blakewell, to the best of your knowledge as Chief Justice here in beautiful Portofino, did any of the judges here sign any form of warrant for your fiancé's arrest before the party?
To the best of my knowledge, no warrant had been signed by any judge prior to the party for Damion's arrest. If there had been a warrant issued, I would have been notified as part of protocol due to my position, and that never happened.
Of course, Mr. Blakewell. Did Mr. Carter happen to have anyone present other than yourself to assist in trying to de-escalate the situation with the police?
No. Aside from myself, there was no one actively trying to de-escalate on his behalf. His attorney had to leave, and most of the guests were either stepping back or unsure how to react. I was the only one who stepped in, tried to talk him down, tried to keep the situation from spiraling. But once things escalated with the officers, I could only do so much. I eventually was able to get him to look at me. I didn't touch him. He was triggered, and when someone gets to that point, touch doesn't help. It only makes them go deeper into fight mode. I spoke to him, calmly, got him to breathe, to focus, and after a moment he let them cuff him. He stood down, not because of force, but because someone he trusted was there, talking to him like a person.
Of course, Mr. Blakewell. A calming presence is exactly what someone would need in that situation. After his arrest, did you get to communicate with your fiancé at all?
No, I wasn't allowed to speak with him after his arrest. He sat in jail for 8 days, with no formal charges filed against him. It wasn't until 2 days before his bail hearing that I was finally allowed to visit him. And even then, it was brief, just a short while. He needed support. He didn't get it for far too long.
8 days. Wow. That is a long time to be away from the loved one with no support or counsel from the person you love. After everything you've heard, Mr. Blakewell, is it your opinion that your fiancé, Mr. Damion Carter, could possibly be capable of what he is being accused of?
No, he said, His voice quiet but firm. Not the Damion I know. I've seen him angry. I've seen him overwhelmed. But I've also seen him stay up late making my daughter laugh when she couldn't sleep. I've seen him protect people, not hurt them. The man I'm engaged to, he's not perfect, but he's not cruel, not violent, not what they're accusing him of.
Thank you, Mr. Blakewell. No further questions, Your Honor.
Would you like to cross-examine?
Mr. Blakewell, that was a loving message in support of a man that you obviously care about deeply. Since the defense raised your position in the court, I'm going to ask you some questions that require you to think abstractly. Firstly, with your knowledge of police tactics, can you recall which is the higher duty of a peace officer? To prevent harm or to de-escalate a situation with a suspect violent offender?
Object, Your Honor. Relevance
goes back to your question on de-escalation versus arrest with where the suspected offender is in the same place as their alleged victim.
Your Honor, while our chief is in the court's purview, there is no way he would know anything about police tactics as closely as an officer would.
Sustained. Please reframe your question, Mr. Blackwood.
Of course, Your Honor. Let me build foundation then. Mr. Blakewell, your wording was careful. That's not who he is when he's with us was one of your statements. Are you with Damion Carter 24/7? Are there times where Mr. Carter is absent from you for extended periods of time?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
I would say the statement speaks for itself, Your Honor. I am pointing out an emotional response is not a factual one. I am not suggesting Mr. Blakewell was not with Mr. Carter when these events occurred.
While that may be true, Your Honor, but my client's whereabouts are not Mr. Blakewell's job. He is here as a character witness and the second closest person to my client.
No, sir. He's here as a witness.
Not a character witness, otherwise he's a hostile witness to me, Your Honor.
Boys, please, get it together. Objection overruled. You may answer the question, Mr. Blakewell.
Yes, Your Honor.
No, I'm not with Mr. Carter 24/7. We both have lives, responsibilities, jobs. Like any couple, there are times we're apart. He leaned forward just slightly, his tone cool but confident. But the time we do spend together, those hours, days, nights, they've shown me who he is at his core. I'm not claiming to know every second of his life, but I do know the man who comes home to me, the man who helps raise my daughter, the man who has never once shown a violent hand in my presence or hers. So yes, I choose my words carefully, because while I can't speak for every moment he's lived, I can speak for the ones I've shared with him. And in those moments, he has never been the man he's being painted as.
That is understandable. You love the man and you have, if I may use the same term, painted him as you perceive him. A loving partner incapable of doing these things, when he is with you. On that basis, your statement earlier wasn't quite correct, and so I offer no to set the record straight because I don't want to entrap you. You said, to paraphrase, you are the only person de-escalating on Damion's behalf. Did Damion's lawyer say anything to him before they left?
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Blakewell is not my client's lawyer or prior lawyer. It's not his job to remember what a lawyer may have said. Your Honor, it is Mr. Blakewell's job to speak the truth under oath.
Mr. Blackwood, I would normally tend to agree. Can you explain your relevance for this question, please?
Mr. Carter's lawyer attempted to de-escalate also. They attempted to de-escalate Mr. Carter.
Objection is sustained. Please reframe your question as Mr. Blakewell did mention the lawyer was there but had to leave. So whatever the lawyer said does not seem relevant at this time to me.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Very well, Your Honor. Before the lawyer left, they attempted to calm Mr. Carter, who was using the term piggies to refer to police and taunting them with the common misconception of donuts. Do you recall these comments?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading the witness.
Your Honor, if I don't say something contextual, the witness doesn't have a job. If I frame it, I'm leading? Which is it?
Excuse me, Mr. Blackwood. Do not get argumentative with me. Objection is overruled. You may answer the question, Mr. Blakewell.
Yes, I do recall those comments. Damion was angry. He felt ambushed, betrayed, even humiliated. That doesn't excuse his words, but it explains the state he was in. It wasn't about disrespecting law enforcement. It was a defensive reaction, a wall he put up the moment he felt threatened. That language wasn't who he is. It was who he thought he had to be in that moment to protect himself.
With respect, Mr. Blakewell, you are a Chief Justice and not a therapist or expert witness on mental state. Please just answer the question at hand. Do you recall both the lawyer's comments and Mr. Carter's comments?
Objection, Your Honor. Badgering the witness.
Your Honor, it's clear the witness is unable to answer questions factually with additional commentary. Permission to treat them as hostile?
I'm sorry, Mr. Blackwood, but nothing about this witness has presented as hostile, so you may not. As for the question at hand, I already told you what